I think I can teach you in this video to finally be able to shred. Okay, I couldn't do what I just did like 6 days ago after well over a decade of trying. I recently stumbled upon a technique that I'm gonna call Legato and Sync. And I don't know if somebody has already come up with this or if it already has a name and people just call it something else and I just didn't get the memo or whatever. But I've never heard anybody explicitly say what I'm about to say. I think most guitarists, myself included, hit a speed wall using the traditional start slow, play it until you can play it perfectly, and then increase tempo. You get in a trap with that because after a certain speed, you need to use different muscles in your wrist and hand. And with this Legato and Sync technique, you go faster, you force yourself to go fast so you understand what it feels like to use those different muscles, and then you slow down. It's kind of counterintuitive. So I'll try to explain this in 4 simple steps using this pattern. Okay, so step 1 is you build the speed that you want with legato only. And by legato, I just mean you're using mostly your left hand with hammer-ons and pull-offs. With legato like that, I think there's no weird transitionary point where you're using different muscles. I think you could just use the classic metronome, play it till you can play it, increase the speed, and increase it that way. And usually people aren't as limited by their left hand with these shred patterns because they're real simple. So most of the shred patterns have this repeating nature. Usually there's one thing, one movement that you repeat over and over. And that's the case with this one. It's real generic and simple. It's just 3 notes on the top string repeated twice in a row. And then you move to the next position, which is on the next string, and you do the same thing. It's just 2 ascending note patterns. And then you move to another position, which is here, and you do the same thing. And then the next one on the next string. And that's the whole thing. So what that means is you can break this pattern down. You can build the speed with your left hand, downstroking only on the index finger at the beginning of those repeating cycles. And then you just work with your metronome and get it up to speed. Let's say we worked up to this speed, 110 BPM. And then once you have that speed and you're picking on the downbeats of those repetitive motions within the pattern, you do something that's an absolute game changer. You do something people refer to as the speed burst. And the speed burst is everything. This is where we do the synchronize. We're legatoing and synchronizing. So step 2 is we speed burst. And an example of the speed burst is, because we know we're repeating this motion over and over again, what we want to do is we want to count the notes in that basic pattern. There's 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to pick 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What we want to do is we want to internalize that motion. We can hear 6 individual attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what you'll notice is when you're doing that, your pick ends above the last string that it touched because it's an even number of picks and most people start with the downstroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See that? Pick is above the string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now we're going to speed burst. So we know our tremolo. We've already worked on that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to force our hands to start and stop at the same time. You're forcing your brain to make sure to end the motion with the pick above the string. And then you're just playing with it and you're listening to it and you're experimenting with how that feels. You're just connecting your brain to this new way of wiggling your hand really fast. What you're not doing is slowing down and trying to build speed. You know the legato motion. You need to get that picking hand to start and stop at the same time. Once you have that, you want to connect it to the next pattern. So the next part from this would be, so the next note is just that index finger on the next string. So what you want to do is do this connection speed burst. And if you're doing that along with your metronome, you're making sure that those downstroke picks are on that index finger note. This is where we're synchronizing. We've got our legato and we're synchronizing. We're just getting our picking hand to start and stop at the same time. So then step 3 is just to connect the speed bursts together. And then step 4 is you just repeat. You break down the next section. You start with a speed burst on the next string, and you connect it to the next part of the pattern. That's the first note, so we connect them. Once you have a feel for the whole lick and you've got all the parts bursted together, then you can start practicing getting their speed up with the rest of it, just forcing it all out. And yeah, I pretty much gave up trying to get any faster 10 years ago, and then I stumbled upon this technique and I was able to double or triple my speed in like 6 days, which is pretty crazy. I hope it works for you.